Hey, what's good, YouTube? It's your boy UnderGamer870 here, and it's my first edition of Story Time. I just wanted to drop this one on you and tell you about the time that I almost ruined it all lifting weights. All right, to start this story off, let's go back to my sophomore year in high school. You can't look at me and tell now, but like I used to love working out, like all the time. It was nothing to catch me running home from choir rehearsal while my mama was following me in the car. Um, Nothing to catch me going to the track at the local high school and getting laps in, and nothing to catch me staying after football practice, running up and down the stadium bleachers. Like, I used to be in shape, like, and not this shape, but a good shape. Um, but yeah, that was then. This is sophomore year in high school. I used to work out for the fun of it. Um, one of the habits that I used to have was I would watch TV shows, sitcoms, and that would be how I would time my workouts. Like I used to try to work out 1.5, maybe 2 hours a day, and one of the ways I would do that is simply watching something on TV. So one of the things that I used to love to do, I used to love incline press. Incline press. And the way I used to do it, I have a tendency. I used to cheat. To I used to If I was standing up doing incline, I would have a really bad habit of using my legs and all that kind of stuff. This part is going to seem a little bit unbelievable, but yeah, go with me. It's true. Um, I used to work out with these really old weights. Like they were the concrete weights, and they had the little plastic coating around it, but they were concrete on the inside of it. And the metal bar that I used to use was real small. It's about that big around. It was tiny. But I had about 115 pounds on this bar, and I would always lift for reps. I would lift for reps because it was light, so I would lift for reps. I would make sure that I was getting it up, but I would always lift for reps. Well, this bar, well, let me describe the weights first. They were concrete and plastic, but the plastic was breaking. Had little holes in them, and so the concrete was pouring out of it somewhat. So it wasn't necessarily how much it said on each weight because it had lost some of the weight from the concrete being poured out. And the bar was old. It had rust on it. On the ends, it was jagged. All that kind of stuff. Well, I'll never forget. I was watching Martin one night. I was watching Martin one night, and I was getting it good. I was loving it. I was loving the show. I was loving the episode. Something crazy was going on. Martin used to keep me laughing. Well, I don't have the most safe exercise regimen, I should say, when it comes to lifting a bar. Even to this day, I haven't changed it. But the recommended way to hold a bar is like that. Making sure that your hand is fully around the bar. Making sure that your hand is fully around the bar. Well, I don't lift like this. I never have lifted like this. I lift like this. I make sure that the bar rests between my thumb and the rest of my hand. And that's how I lift. Now, depending on how heavy the weight is, this thumb has a tendency to move. If I'm tired, the weight is I'm going to move my thumb and pull my thumb back like this. And so I have a tendency. That's a really bad habit. People don't do that. Please don't do that. By the end of the story, you'll understand why that's not a good idea. So, with that being said, I had a really bad habit of lifting weights like this. Okay, watching an episode of Martin, I was getting it in, killing it, right? Well, it was either Martin or Pam. I don't remember who. But one of them said, and it could have been Hustle Man now that I think about it. Somebody said a really funny joke, and it caught me off guard. It caught me off guard. So I'm lifting, and I started laughing. I'm like, ah! Well, when I started laughing, it was not good. It was not good. The weight slipped out of my right hand, and I caught it in time with my left hand. Well, when you're lifting weights and you catch it with one side and you don't catch it with the other, what you have done, now you have created an opportunity for the weight to swing. Because I still had the weight here, but the weight was dropped on this side. So it's, as I'm pulling up on my left side, it swung down. And the bar caught me. The bar caught me. The bar caught me. I got really scared. I jumped up and I ran to the bathroom, and the bar caught my third leg. It caught my other member. It caught me in an area that it caught something that I was really worried about. I ran to the bathroom because it hurt. It hurt really bad. Remember I described that we talking about concrete weights and this pole, this bar that was already jagged and had rust on the end of it, right? Well, I ran to the bathroom and I'm looking everywhere and I'm squeezing, trying to make sure that I'm okay. It hurt really bad, but I didn't see any blood. So I felt like, okay, I'm good. I dodged the bullet. I'm sweating real bad. I'm not sweating because I'm tired. I'm sweating because I was really nervous. But it was a really messed up situation. So I check myself and I don't see any blood. I'm fine. I'm thinking that, all right, I'll just sleep it off and wake up in the morning and I'll be good. So I go to lay down. When I laid down, the next morning when I woke up, I had blood down there. Had a lot of blood down there, and this is the part that really scared me. And now the pain didn't leave. It was still hurting. I'm like, wait a minute. Usually when I take a nap, I wake up and I'll be good. Well, that didn't work this time. That didn't work this time. And so I'm walking. I'm walking really wide leg now. I couldn't tell my mom. Initially because my mom has always been like the greatest mother in the world, and she always tells me, don't lift weights by yourself. Have somebody there with you. Well, I was thinking it's lightweight. It's not going to hurt me. I can easily lift this. This can't crush me, so I'm good. And I didn't want to be like, well, Mama, you was right. You know, I shouldn't have lifted by myself because I suffered an accident and it was bad. So my mom used to drive me to school in the mornings, and by this time I had already taken my shower and noticed that, hey, I see a gash now that wasn't here last night. So I see the problem, but I don't want to admit the problem. So I'm walking incredibly wide leg, like incredibly wide leg. And during this period of time, I was the guy that used to have his pants incredibly starched. Like you could take them off and stand them up in the middle of the floor. That was me. That was me. So I had these incredibly starched pants on, these jeans on, and I'm walking around like my legs are this far apart. I'm hoping and praying that they don't touch or anything rubs up against me down there because I'm in pain. I'm in bad pain. I was fine throughout the day, and I got through all my classes. I was able to walk straight to class. Had all of the questions. What's wrong with you? Don't worry about it. Mind your business. Mind your business. Don't ask me what's wrong with me. Go on about your business. Last period of the day, I had football practice. There's no way I'm practicing today. There was no way I'm practicing today. I told my coach. I said, Coach, I'm having a problem. And I'm like, Coach, I'm cut down here, and I don't think I can practice. Well, immediately when I said I'm cut, Coach was like, "Hey, don't worry about it. Go sit down. Don't. You ain't got to practice today." So that day passed. I didn't tell my mom. I was fine. The next day comes. Did the same routine, and I'm still in the same amount of pain. It's not getting any better. It may have even gotten worse. I'm in a lot of pain. Well, Coach pulls me to the side and says, "Son, I need you to go, and I need you to tell your mom." And I'm like, "For what?" Because you can't practice until you get clearance from a doctor. Yes, sir. I didn't want to tell my mom. And so, in a twisted reality, the irony in everything. My mom comes to pick me up from school, and I'm like, time I sat down, I'm like, Mom, I think I need to go to the doctor. Why? What's wrong? What? Because I'm not that guy. I don't volunteer to go to the doctor. Like if I asked to go to the doctor, I should have been to the doctor maybe 3-4 days ago. Like I'm not the guy that wants to go to the doctor. But when I ask, it's probably too late. Like I should have gone a while back. So when I asked to go to the doctor, she asked me what was wrong, and I said, when I told her, I said, Mom, I was lifting weights that day, and she heard it. My mama heard the weights drop differently. She didn't know exactly what happened, but she knew when it happened, and she knew that it was because it was a direct result of the way I dropped the weights. She said she was just waiting for me to come and tell her. We immediately went to the doctor, and they're examining everything, and they're like, hey, first and foremost, you dodged a bullet, because with the way that I described that bar to him, I could have lost some stuff. Like it was bad. Ended up getting a shot. Ended up escaping with only having to doctor on it, for a little bit. Didn't have to get stitches. I was thankful for that. Didn't have to get stitches. But yeah. I almost lost it all trying to be in shape. So as a means of protest, look at me now. Like I don't even lift weights anymore. But no, I'm just playing. That's not why I don't lift weights like that anymore. I still have a lot of those same bad habits. But yeah, that's going to conclude this edition of Story Time. More to come. But yeah, that's it.